All right. Who wants to be agile? That's it? So we start 1 minute after the schedule and we'll be on time. That will be pretty agile, right? So my name is Valdis Iljuconoks. I came from Latvia today to talk with you about what Microsoft thinks about agile practices and what Microsoft has to offer for the agilists. So I'm a pretty technical guy, so working in a Norway-based web agency, making some cool stuff on web. You can find me under the identity Tech Fellow somewhere on the internet. So today I will talk with you about lean development using Team Foundation services. How many of you have heard of that? How many of you have seen? How many of you have used? I used for production code. Cool. At least a few hands. So yeah, why I choose the keyword lean? So basically, if we are taking the lean keyword itself, that's something we have to invest or make some investments in stuff we trying to build, we trying to code. And in order for the software development, there's a lot of investment should be done for the process to happen itself. And one of the issues when the investment should be made is some kind of investments in the infrastructure, in, I don't know, building agents, building machines, code repositories, some kind of service on the premises you have to run, you have to maintain, you have to look for, monitor, etc., etc. What the Microsoft thinks and offers is actually we're taking a Team Foundation server, what it is on the on-premises, pack it together, add some salt on top of that, make it cloud aware, and then just push it out somewhere in the cloud on the data centers, and you can find it under the TFSpreview.com. Why it's preview? Because it's preview. Currently, you don't need to pay anything. You just go to the TFSpreview.com, you fill up the sign-up form, pick some unique name for your project, and that's it. And actually, you're ready to go. You have a full functional Team Foundation services somewhere on the cloud, in some data center. You're not paying at the moment nothing. The price, like this policy, is not yet decided, and that's while it's in preview mode or preview this period, it's totally free, so you don't pay anything. So if we are taking the software development process through all the phases, what we know together and what we know usually flows through. So those are 6 phases, starting from planning and ending actually with the feedback. When you deliver something to your customer and trying to engage that customer and try to ask, what do you think about this button? Should it be green or should it be red or whatever? You're somehow engaging and taking those product owners or stakeholders to your project, to your process, and try to get as close as possible. So Microsoft has something to offer you in each of those phases using a Team Foundation services, but for sure we are developers and we want to know, okay, I'm a developer, what I can get for this Team Foundation services. So at the moment, mostly of the investments Microsoft have made around the first phase, which is planning. So if we are taking a journey to the Team Foundation services, you can see the Agile boards, product backlog items, drag and drop functionality, how you in a stand-up each morning, how you just drag things around and try to understand what your iteration is, what your sprint are, how far we are, and what the left, and etc. Like, that's pretty amazing. But I wanted to more focus on the third phase, which is develop, and what we as a developers can gain. So at the beginning, Microsoft of the software development thinks something like that. I will not read each of those boxes, but the initial idea is that something starts here on the telling the story. So customer tells the story, I wanted this button to be green, and so it gets on our backlog item list. We try to understand in which sprint we are going to build that. We manage and plan the sprint, and then we go to the development phases, build iterations, delivery each hour, each week, or whatever. And then we deploy something to the customer, and at that moment we're trying to engage the customer and say, okay, we built that stuff, we deployed that stuff, what do you think about it, right? So at the beginning, in the planning phases, at the moment, as Team Foundation Service provides, you can choose of one of the 3 built-in process templates. And what the process template is just a set of metadata. Usually those are in XML format, which actually controls how your project looks like, what your work items look like, what kind of work items you have. Either you have product backlog item, you have task, you have bug, you have whatever, feedback request, code review request, etc. So those are predefined process templates, and usually either you choose Scrum or Agile, or you can even choose CMMI if you will. Right? So you pick a process template, create the project, and you're ready to go. So in the planning phase, what Microsoft offers, it offers this product backlog item list, product backlog board, which you can use drag and drop functionality to make things happen. It also has some signs of the Kanban phase, or these Kanban features I will show shortly. And it also provides you the sprint planning features. So you take your backlog, you try to understand what are the most significant features you would like to develop, and you just drag and drop somewhere around the sprinting or assigning to the people who will be committing to that product backlog item. So you're making things really fast and really lean. So if you take a look quickly on this Team Foundation Services, so this is the home site. It's a little bit zoom in because for the reading. So this is the home page of particular project called Agile Tour 2012. So what we can see here is actually we can see that at the moment we are on the 4th sprint, which actually happens during this week. So we are developing somehow and something. It's in Latvian because my local settings are in Latvian, but that doesn't matter. So we are developing from the 8th to the 12th October something. And what the TFS service gives you, it's information already in your face. Where you are you on the green bar or are you in the red bar? So these colors means where you are and how much work you left and how many hours or sprint points your team has at the moment. What's your team capacity? And taking that into account, it can calculate where you are and is it, are you on the safe side? And also what's interesting, you can see here, for instance, various like quick notes about what's inside of your project and what's in your sprints. How many backlog items you have, how many unfinished work, and etc. etc. So it's pretty easy. So if you look at the work section, and here you can see that we do have a pretty interesting backlog item board which supports various drag and drop features. And here you can see that we can see a small Kanban shining through that. It tells that, okay, the team is capable of taking only, for instance, at this moment, 10 items in approved state. So if you push more than 10, it will light red, and it's some sign of the overcapacity or not capable to handle all those stories. So that's pretty interesting. What we also have for the planning is the historical data of your sprint, like velocity, how many sprint points your team is capable to deliver in each sprint. And taking that into account, you actually can already calculate and a little bit predict what the stories will be on the next sprint, how many of the user stories or product backlog items could be delivered within the next sprint. So that's also pretty interesting and real time. So the question is how you know within the sprint where you will be delivering and how your velocity within the sprint. So one of the techniques Microsoft gives you is so-called burning chart. So the burning chart, you most probably know what it is. And in TFS preview, it gives you the live feedback. When you marking some work item as done, some task dragging from, I don't know, from in progress state to the done state. So it actually calculates in real time what's your burn down chart and where you are taking all the team members and capacity and etc. So how it looks like on the TFS preview, it's pretty straightforward. You can access that from the either homepage of the project or going to the work section. So it says that, okay, we do have the sprint for 8th October to the 12th October. We're a little bit lagging behind the schedule, but that's okay because that's a fake project anyway. So we will be on time anyway. If you will make some job in a done state, so we can just quickly see how it's in action. So for instance, we are taking, I know, this 4 sprint points task to the done state. We are dragging and dropping over the done state. And you can see that that's actually live feedback. So you can see it's already like work amount dropped, and it's live. It's not something, as in the previous versions, something like pre-calculated once per hour or once per day, etc. So it's live. So in Analyze, quickly, what Microsoft offers you in the Analyze phase. Oh yeah, by the way, if you have a question, just raise your hand, or you can collect those tough questions till the end. So in the storyboarding, what do we have? Microsoft think that in previous period, when the business owner or business analyst wants to deliver something or prototype something or just express their thoughts to the customer, it makes some kind of, I know, Visio prototypes or some kind of other formats to go to the customer and discuss about that one. In a new version, what Microsoft offers is things that, okay, what kind of product family we do have. We do have a pretty powerful platform called Microsoft Office, and it has a pretty powerful application called Microsoft PowerPoint. And what they did, they took so-called drawing shapes, bring them to the PowerPoint, and actually the business guy who already knows the PowerPoint can create the mock-ups, can create the UI sketches, whatever. Pretty easy, pretty fast, and pretty quickly. And you can also design your iPhone or iPad applications either, so it doesn't matter. So Microsoft thinks that it's pretty open. So you just drag and drop your shapes on the PowerPoint presentation, and you can take that presentation or even send over the customer. He just double click on the presentation file and sees what the screens may look like. That's pretty interesting. So, as we are developers, what actually we as a developer can gain from this platform? Okay, we see that it's pretty powerful for managers, owners, business owners, whatever. So, what interesting it brings for us as a developer? So those are just a quick and like cut list of the features what you can gain using the latest Visual Studio and Team Foundation services. But most of the interesting features are favorite of mine are my work and code review, which is actually also pretty interesting. So this may be a situation when you are in the middle of the, I don't know, debugging session or whatever. You're trying to understand what kind of I don't know, issue or task have been done, and then your boss comes in and say, you know, we do have a pretty urgent bug to be fixed, and that's like you have to throw away all your work and focus on this bug and make it happen as soon as possible. And we as a developer have to switch those contexts somehow. And what Microsoft thinks would be cool is to introduce this so-called My Work feature. And what actually My Work is. So, for instance, we are in the Visual Studio, I don't know, taking some cool new features. For instance, we can say that this is let's say this is a new article. And then our boss comes in and say, you just throw away this one and get back to that dirty bag. So what we can see actually, heading over the so-called Team Explorer, which is the talking interface from the Visual Studio to the Team Foundation service, or Team Foundation server. And that's like the hub of all the works you have to done against the Team Foundation. So it has pending changes, it has my work items, it has builds, etc., etc. Everything you may see already. So going over to my work, I can see that I do have one edit, which is the pending change. So I made something in, for instance, this particular file. And when the boss comes in or product manager comes in, whatever, what we are able to do, we are able to suspend our work, saying that, okay, this was the feature I was working on, and I want to suspend and in theory just shelve somewhere this my work in progress, and then I will come back to this bug, fix the bug, and then I would like to resume my work and proceed further. So what we can do, we can actually suspend the bug, suspend our new feature. We can, I don't know, make a title for more meaningful for us. And what it does, it actually takes our changes, shelved to the team foundation, and rolls back the changes. So I'm back to the original file version at the moment. So as you can see, this about file has nothing to do with our new article. So we make changes. For instance, this is a bug fix. Then we can just check in, because this is our bug fix. Check in, yes. So then we go over my work, and then we can see that at the moment I do have one suspended work. So that was something I was working on. I entered a very meaningful title. So what I'm able to do, I'm able to resume that work. And what will I get? I get actually the code conflict or file conflict, because I made something during the bug fix, and I also made something during my new feature development. And what it does, it actually says, you know, I do have two article information, and one is the bug fix, one is the new article. So I really don't know what to do, and here we go, the conflict, and you actually can merge that conflict within the merging tool. So what it does, it actually shows you, you know, that the left part was made during the bug fix, right part is during your feature development. I don't know what will be the final version, so make your choice. The choice is up to you. So we will be pretty silly and make both of the changes in force. So that's my work, and yeah, you can actually see that we do have both of the text, so it's pretty interesting. Yep.
Can you suspend multiple files?
Yes, sure. That was quick answer. Yeah?
How about other languages and tools?
What do you mean by languages and tools?
PHP? That doesn't support?
Actually, Team Foundation and Visual Studio doesn't care what kind of file you are making or editing or whatever. So if the file or if the project is binded to the Team Foundation server, so your source control knows about your file and your Visual Studio knows that you're editing that file, you can suspend during your work using the Visual Studio. If you're using different tools like Eclipse, I'm not sure that they have suspend feature in this Team Foundation Everywhere tool, which is the plugin for Eclipse, but I suppose that will be coming as well. So that doesn't matter. All right, that was my work. When the my work is done, you're able to go to the next cool feature, which is code review. It's not a very agile approach what Microsoft is taking, but it's like adding a little bit more bookkeeping information within your code review processes. So what it does, when the change has been made, and I took all of the changes within that file, so what I'm able to do actually, I can go over to, for instance, history, and see that that's my bug fix. And what I can do, I can request the code review. So that may happen after the check-in, So I'm as a senior developer or architect or whatever, just going through the code and understanding, okay, this is some fancy changes. I would like to request the code review for that guy who made those changes. Or that could be vice versa. Before the check-in, I'm not sure, I'm a very junior developer, I'm not sure that those changes have been made correctly. Then I can request the code review from some senior programmer or senior developer. That could be vice versa. You can be on both of the sides. So what actually code review does? For instance, let's request the code review. So what it does, it actually brings up the new page in Team Explorer, and you can enter the name or email address, in this case, for the code reviewer who would like to be this senior or this reviewer. So let's add another cool guy, which is from .NET LV group. That's pretty cool guy. So let's add them to the code review. And then what we can do, actually, we can also view the changes. So for instance, here I can see that there's no pending changes. All right. So I can see that what kind of changes have been included in this change set. And yeah, I can also add some related work items, so-called. So if I was working on some particular task or bug, I can just drag and drop and associate, like make the context for this code reviewer. So he can read the requirements or see the bug report, etc., and he can review the code review. And he can review the code and make the changes if it's required. So I can also add multiple reviewers, or even if I'm as a reviewer, I receive the code review request, I can add additional reviewers. So if I receive some kind of code review on topic or module or area I'm not capable to handle that one, I can add additional reviewer and see, you know, you're responsible for security stuff, here you go, just review that code. So it's not a single person, it could be multiple persons. So, and then we just submit a request. And actually what we, let's try. So here you can see that I have one code review which is, which is sent to some guy for the reviewing. So that's actually relies on my code reviews section in my work page. So let's try to switch to that another guy. So just sign out and sign in as a cool guy from .NET group. So this is authentication against Team Foundation services. All right. So going to my work as that code reviewer, I can see that some guy took initiative and wants something from me as a code reviewer. So I can see that, okay, I do have some send items for me. Okay, let's switch to the dark side of the force. As a code reviewer. So what can I do with this code review? Can you see or no? So what can I do? I can accept or I can decline. For instance, okay, I'm accepting this code review and I'm taking to the deep of the changes, or I can even decline the code review. So telling that guy that, you know, I'm the wrong person, you send the code review, please pick another code review, whatever. So let's accept the code review. Then we can, what's the interesting part, we can actually go file by file and making some comments. For instance, okay, this is pretty fine changes, that's very okay, let's go further. And yeah, just let that okay. Then we can see the overall changes made and etc. And we can, what we can do, we can actually somehow mark the code review request. Either this is looks good, needs some comments, or this is some kind of work to be revoked, so it's totally inappropriate changes. And after that one, you can just send back the code review request to that guy. And let's switch back to light. Yeah, and here you can see that, okay, let's refresh. And here you can see that that guy made green light for my changes, and I'm ready to go further, so I can commit that one. That reviewer cannot commit on behalf of me. I should be the last person which is committing the code. Yep.
Is the list configurable?
Yes, but not using the Team Foundation services. So I will come back to that a little bit later. Yeah. All right. So yeah, you can request change. You can request code review for pending changes. So you are the requester, or you can be the requester who is asking for the code review. So you can be on the both sides. All right, about stabilizing and testing the software, what Microsoft provides you in this area is the test manager and exploratory testing, which is nothing pretty new. So it's taking the same tools what they have in the previous version and just adapting for the Team Foundation services to be able to work with. So those are tools which you are using for creating the test case and test suites and trying to understand how you will be testing your software. But I will not jump to that topic as we do not have much time. The interesting part also, if you're taking lead of those lean development, is that actually what's new coming for the deployment phase. So what kind of new features Microsoft has to offer. And there's actually two of them. One of them is so-called hosted build controller. So if you are holding your source code in TFS preview or Team Foundation services, you would be able, and it would be really nice to take the source code and build somewhere. Either this is in a cloud or on your premises. What the Microsoft offers you is so-called hosted build controller, which actually is building machine in the cloud. So you don't have to have your own building agents and building servers and etc. You just make your new build definition. For instance, if you're looking at the builds. So we do have one build definition. It just takes the latest source code and just compiles and executes the unit tests. And the interesting part is that, let's say, where is it? On the build defaults. Here you can see that it takes the hosted build controller. So what it does, actually, it builds somewhere on the Microsoft data centers building servers, compiles everything, executes the unit tests, or do whatever you would like and what you have defined in your build workflow, and as a result it just checks in the result as a build to the Team Foundation source control system or source control repository. And you do not have nothing to on your premises. Everything is in the cloud, so that's pretty lean. You can also configure a building agent on your premises, so that's also a possible scenario when you do have the building agent on your installation on your side, and you can just connect to the Team Foundation services and pull down the source code and build and run unit tests or whatever. So it could be mixed match. It doesn't have to be also only the hosted build controller. So, and the next interesting part is if you have used the Windows Azure services, it also provides you a pretty interesting stuff how you can work with the Windows Azure. So what it does, if you are going to the Azure side, for instance, I made the Agile Tour 12 site. It's currently in staging environment, but that's okay. So what you can do, actually, you can glue together your Agile your Windows Azure site with your Team Foundation services. So the scenario is that you do have a source code in your Team Foundation service, and you have your deployment environment in Windows Azure. And the pretty interesting part is that you can set up from your Azure side the build definition directly in your Team Foundation services. So let's try to make that one. So what you have to do, you have to enter your Team Foundation services account name. So let's try to authorize. So it's making a claim-based authentication. And what it does, actually, you can pick some of the projects in which you would like to create this build definition. So you're creating the build definition in Agile Tour project. And you can see that it could take a little while. Here you can see the Microsoft bug for the translations, but that will refresh immediately. Yep. So you can see that you can link your Azure site with Team Foundation services. And the behind the scenes, what it does, if you go to the same build definition list, you click the refresh, and you can actually see that Windows Azure created a new team build in Team Foundation services called Agile Tour 12_CD. And CD goes for continuous deployment. And actually, if you are looking at the build itself, it uses this special designed build definition file or build workflow file, which is called Azure Continuous Deployment whatever version.xaml. So this specially designed build definition file for compiling your code, running the unit tests, and pushing out your site to the Windows Azure. So that's also pretty interesting. All right. About feedback. Feedback is more or less this green bar, which goes after the deployment and try to engage the stakeholders. What do you think about this software? What do you think about this new window, new button, whatever? And Microsoft provides you with the tool called Feedback Manager, which is actually a pretty interesting way how you can ask for the feedbacks. So what do? You go to your home page of your project, and you just click one of the links, which is called Request Feedback. And what it does, it actually creates the work item in the Team Foundation services. Work item is a feedback request type, and it actually sends out the link to this customer or email address or stakeholder, whatever. And using Feedback Manager tool, he can capture the screenshots, add the comments, try to give his idea about what you have delivered or what you have not yet delivered. So it's also pretty interesting. Okay, so a little bit technical details about Team Foundation services. So that's actually Team Foundation server packed together and installed on the cloud. And what the behind the scenes about technical details is that actually, for instance, asking this question about configuring the list of code review responses. It could be possible if we do have this process customization feature on hosted services. So it's actually, at the moment, red cross. It's not possible. You can pick either Scrum, Agile, or CMMI template, but it comes as it is. It's not possible to customize as it's possible on the premises. So on the premises, you just take your process template, make the changes, add new work items, add new states, transitions, etc. Just upload new template and you're ready to go. At the hosted services or this TFS preview, it's not possible. And the answer is why it's not possible, because Microsoft offers you so-called account promoting feature, which is idea that Microsoft makes some significant changes to the processes or make some reliefs or make some new features. You as a Team Foundation user get those features by default. You don't have to install or upgrade or migrate your account. It just happens on the fly. You get new features and that's it. And that's the agreement with you and Microsoft using those Team Foundation services. We also do not have SharePoint integration and reportings at the TFS preview, but that's the majority cases it's not required. So about technical details also, comparing the on-premises and hosted environment. Microsoft have moved everything from SQL Server to SQL Azure, which actually gives you the triple backup policy. So your data is backed in the same location in data center and in some geolocated different data center. So your data is triple backup. And also like uses Azure worker roles for build agents and also Azure Active Directory for authentication. So that's some details. Yeah, but if we are using on-premises server and we would like to take some features from hosted server, so that's actually possible. What do? You just download the process template for hosted services and just install that template to the premises server, and that's it. You can start using those cool features, which are at the moment either possible only on TFS preview, but you have to do some work to get those features, but it's doable. It's not something, okay, that's only TFS preview and you're not able to use them. It's possible. So you just have to use process templates using process template manager or something like that. So let's see, process, yeah, here we go. The last one, process template manager. So clicking on that one, you can just get the list of the process templates from the TFS preview. You can just click download and you got the whole folder with some various cool stuff. All right, so continuing the lean development stuff and lean development story, we do have some kind of family called Express. So there is a Team Foundation Server Express, which you can install on premises, and it's actually for free up to 5 developers. And you have to pay nothing. It uses SQL Express. It also comes for free. And actually, if you are like doing some startups or don't want to invest a lot of money in some tools, you have a lot of family of tools within the Express family. So you have Express for web, Windows 8, and desktop development as well. That's the more or less functional Visual Studio. You just download, install, and develop, and you pay nothing except Windows license. So I encourage you to take a look at the Team Foundation Service preview mode at the moment. So that's pretty interesting stuff. We do not know the pricing policy at the moment, but that's coming. That's coming, and then we'll see how much it will cost for us. Okay, with that, I would like to thank you for taking time with me, and I appreciate your time. And if you have any question, you can ask now, or we can take it offline for sure. Yep.
Using TFS before, our big problem we ran into was, for instance, with a laptop when I would be at home and wasn't connected.
It does have some so-called connectivity issues. So if the connection is pretty bad, it may behave strangely a little bit. It does have to have a good connection. So it's the major requirement for cloud service for sure. But for sure, it's like nothing. You have to make some VPN connections or some fancy connection to get to the TFS. You just have to have ordinary internet connection. Yeah.
I'm in particular talking about the source control.
Yep.
It's very difficult for a developer to say that they always need their laptop to have connectivity to the server. Like, for instance, I like to go on planes and go places. And oftentimes when I'm working on code on a plane, I won't have internet connectivity.
Yep.
And like, for instance, all my files would go read-only.
You can go offline. There's a so-called feature. You go offline, you take everything offline, develop, change, and then cross fingers and go online. So then you will most probably have a lot of code conflicts and etc. if some of the guys on the office will be working on the same code. But that's possible. You can take offline, and it will not blame about connectivity. Then you do not have connectivity. Just, okay, I do not have TFS behind the scenes. Let's go. Yeah. All right. Yep.
We want to thank you, and we have some awesome presents.
Yep. Thank you very much.
And